Hello, everybody. Thank you for connecting. We're gonna wait just a couple of minutes more to see if we get more people on connected to this webinar. So just a couple of minutes, and then I'll make the presentation here. Okay, let's start. First of all, my name is Pedro. I'm with Flytec. I'm in charge of Unifi Enterprise for the U.S. and Latin America market. Today, thank you for taking time off your busy schedules. Today, you're going to learn about another part of the Unifi ecosystem called Superlink Sensors IoT. It's going to be very interesting. A small commercial of what Flytec is. We've been a master distributor for Ubiquiti Unifi for over 15 years now. Our headquarters and warehouse is in Doral, Florida. That's the Miami area. We normally carry millions of dollars of Unifi inventory. We do our best to keep up with so many great products coming out from Unifi. For customers in the state of Florida, just a note here, UPS Ground is next day service all over the state, maybe except the Panhandle. We do have our own in-house tech support for Unifi. We can help you design your projects, select the best Unifi solution for your project. And I'm gonna, as soon as we start this webinar, I'm gonna put my direct email in the chat. I'm gonna put a link to our website, to the Flytec website, where you can always get a good price and see the inventory on what you need, and we'll go from there. So here I would like to introduce Andrew Piper, solutions engineer for Unifi, that's going to talk to you about Superlink. Go ahead, please, Andrew.
Great. Thanks, Pedro. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks, everyone, for being here today. I'm excited to be meeting with you. Hope some of you were able to join us at UWC last month, or just last week. We had a good time and showcase some of the upcoming products I won't be able to talk to today specifically, but just keep a lookout for that. Just a reminder, whenever we have those, it's an opportunity to kind of. I always love for you to come up and introduce yourself, and it's an opportunity for me to know you better and how you use Unifi and everything. But it's also just a good chance for you to kind of see what the roadmap is. So we just completed that, so it's a exciting time for those that were able to attend. But for those who are not, I can just say that we've got a lot of things coming. Physical security. It has a number of exciting developments, things that are happening. We have across all of our applications a effort to be able to improve a large organization management experience, and I think you'll find that that's going to keep getting better. We're close to getting out of early access with our organizations and fabrics, and that's coming soon. That's going to improve your ability to manage physical security deployments across the world and multiple sites, and do things like sync credentials and sync facial recognition profiles and license plate detection, so that if it's seen on any side, it'll show up on your. You can still be alerted and notified if there's someone that stole something, that you can know if they came to any retail store or whatever. But we have lots of cool developments happening like that, and I'm excited for the direction things are going in. I think today's our opportunity to talk about Unifi Superlink, and Superlink is a new product, one that's generated a lot of interest. I know a lot of people are interested to see where it's going, and we're at this kind of in between stage where we've got some of the sensors released. We don't have the whole full family release, but we're in the process of rolling those out. You can see some of them on our site. We've got some other ones that we've shown before in some of our content and our marketing content that we've shown before. But today we'll just go over all the products with current release, ones that are coming up, and then we'll just go through a demo where I can kind of show you what the software management experience is like. And then I just want to have plenty of time for questions. I know a lot of times people like to ask me all sorts of things. I'm sure some of them won't be related to Superlink, and that's all right. If we get, we'll try to answer all the Superlink questions, and then if we get past those, we can answer whatever questions you have. But anyways, thanks for making the time today. Let's go ahead and get started. So just a reminder, everybody knows here probably what we do. If you join this webinar, you're interested and you know Unifi probably pretty well already. But just know that we've positioned ourselves as being this end-to-end IT solution, and we keep doing more and more. Like even since we initially set this up, I can tell you right there, like there's no, we don't have the the UPS is on this list, right? So it's hard to keep up with. We keep coming out with new products, new categories, and as someone that makes a lot of training content, I can tell you it's an uphill battle just to keep everything up to date. But that's a good thing. We're always trying to innovate. We're always trying to do more, and our hope is that you have a good experience with Unifi and you want to keep working with us in the future. And as you try one of our applications out, you have good experience, you enjoy it. Maybe that drives you to want to try something else out. But we try to apply the same approach to everything, and that's a very unique focus we have compared to other vendors. These are kind of our brand principles that make us unique in who we are. First thing is we focus very closely on making high quality hardware that looks nice and also works really well. And this is a driving reason that a lot of people adopt our products is that they like the design. You can see certainly Apple influence in some of this, and we do have part of that that influence in our culture. As our CEO came from Apple originally, and we try to focus on quality. But what's different about us is we're very accessible. So our products aren't the price of a luxury product, but we make it price accessible. And we try to provide exactly the kind of solution each of our customers need. Setup and management is really easy and straightforward. You'll find with any of our applications and our products, they're pretty much plug and play. As someone that used to do support at the company, I can tell you it used to not be that easy all the time, to my detriment sometimes. But over the years, we've really dramatically improved that. And right now, I feel like we're at a point where setup for all of our products is really intuitive and easy, and takes a very short time. I usually end up spending more time dealing with the boxes than I do with the actual setup of the products these days. It's just getting them unwrapped and getting them plugged in and everything takes all the time. But the actual management and setup is very easy and straightforward. We try to make it really accessible for anybody, no matter what your experience is. And a big focus for us over the last few years has been both going wider with what we offer. We want to provide different solutions and things that consolidate upon our identity, which is this license-free approach that is very accessible, intuitive, and we provide lots of free added resources to you to help you be successful. We try to apply it to all these other products that we offer, and so we're going to keep filling in those gaps in the IT environment. And we want to position ourselves to be an end-to-end solution that IT managers can use us for most things, and say, okay, we can just use Unifi for our VoIP. We can use Unifi for our full stack network, for our physical security, and we want to be worthy of your trust so that you keep coming back to us for that. And last, a big thing that makes us unique is our approach to software. Despite being one of the only vendors in the enterprise networking space that provides free software updates without licenses, I would say that we have one of the best and most aggressive software development processes. Like we come out with updates and improvements to our software all the time, and we're constantly trying to add more value to the products. Despite the fact you pay up front for a product, you get it. Over time, it just improves in its capability despite you not having to increase your investment in us at all. And that's, again, what's about us that makes us really unique. I think that's why a lot of you like us. That's why I like Unifi. It's a big part of that, is that approach. And, I'll tell you, at UWC, a lot of times people ask me, is Unifi going to turn on license fees? Are you guys just waiting? What's the catch? Like, what's going on? I can tell you our CEO spoke at the conference and was very, very, very clear that that is in our very DNA, and that's not something we're going to change. We're sticking with that license-free model, and it's who we are. So don't worry about that. We are committed to this platform because we believe in it, and you've seen we're able to be successful despite the fact that we're not charging these license fees. So it just tells you sometimes what some other vendors are, how much profit they must be making. But our focus is purely on just making a good product and making sure that you're happy. So of course, we always welcome your feedback and input. Let's go ahead and move on to the main subject of the presentation today, which is Superlink. So for a little bit of history here, we've had, this is not our first entry into sensors. We actually we have one existing all-in-one sensor that is, it's our UP Sense product. This is a sensor that is managed through Protect, but previously could only be managed, you could use our U6 access points. Our Wi-Fi 6 access points, you actually had a BLE radio on them, and you could manage these sensors if they're connected through that BLE radio on those access points. Now, what we've done is, since then, we've decoupled the sensors from Wi-Fi. You don't have to have an access point anymore. You don't have to connect your sensors to an AP. It can be connected specifically to the Superlink product. And this is our sort of base station for all your sensors. And what's cool about this is a solution, a replacement for the need for APs. So you don't need to, we don't have BLE on our Wi-Fi 7 APs. A lot of people were worried about that when we came out with that. They thought, oh, we're not going to be doing sensors anymore. Maybe we're giving up on that. That's not at all the case. We just we decided to shift that into its own platform with Superlink and make it to where even if you're not using our access points, you can still use our sensors. And so that's where this product comes in. So it provides that backwards compatibility to our UPsense all-in-one sensors. But it also using a proprietary, it's our proprietary protocol, Superlink. It's long range, low latency, and consumes very low power. It is you can handle up to 96 of those sensors from each one of these devices in a long enough range that up to 2 kilometers per sensor. Now that's going to be an open environment. Remember that the more walls there are in between, the less likely it's going to reach that. But where you have line of sight, it can reach very long ways. This is a nice product because it's an in-between solution, allows you to keep working with your existing sensors and now expand into our growing family of Superlink sensors. I like this product. It's affordable and it costs less than most of those access points cost to use and provides all this added function of being able to connect to those Superlink clients. We started launching sensors. So we first came out with the very first sensor we released was the environmental sensor. This is a cool product because it does a few things that are really useful. It looks for humidity in your environment, so you can use it in places like manufacturing environments where humidity might be very sensitive. Maybe I've seen a lot of customers that are using Unifi in like industrialized agriculture settings where you have like greenhouses that they're growing plants in. And I'm sure they have their own sensors that you're leveraging, but we also offer this, which is a nice thing to have to supplement that or to increase the prevalence of those sensors. We have humidity sensors, we have temperature, and we have lighting. So it's all three of those things can be very useful for knowing the state of an environment. It'll help you see things like using that. You can see you can also connect this to a sensor or to a probe that can look at water leaks, identify potential water leaks, and give you alerts anything like this has happened. So sometimes you might be installed in a utility closet and look for or I've also seen other cases where people want to install it in a fridge so they can verify that the fridge is appropriately processing the extra moisture and keeping the temperature low where it's supposed to be. But there's lots of use cases for this. I think it has use cases in just a regular office environment. But what's so great about Superlink and the whole idea here and why it rests on the Protect platform is we see it being this kind of glue between Unifi Protect and Unifi Access, and being this way that you can actually create all these triggers to allow you to be able to identify certain conditions inside of a physical environment and then do automations based off of that using our alarm manager. So there's tons of stuff that you can do already. That's going to keep increasing. It's going to keep going. I see there being more and more potential. The more sensors released, the more full-featured our alarm manager becomes. The more you'll be able to do. We'll go over a brief demo of this and we can look at some of the options right now, but right now it's very easy to set up to where if you detect a water leak, then you can pair it with sirens that then notify that that's going on. We also have the entry sensor. So this is a door contact sensor basically that sets on one on the door, one on the what do you call that? The place
frame?
The frame, yeah, the frame of the door, and then whenever it shuts, it makes that contact, right? And verifies that it's closed or open. This is nice because you can use in Unifi Protect a trigger that says, okay, a door's opened, or you can use this to do basically your own automations. You can have a pan tilt zoom camera that's set up in a nearby environment that that faces that door, that it can be on patrol, and then you can have it set up to where if that door opens, then immediately it's going to shift to do the point the PTZ camera at the door, so you see who's walking through. Really nice features, stuff like that. A lot of things that you can do with it. We're just scratching the surface there, but this has long battery life and a tamper switch, among other things, and it has a lot of potential uses. Like I mentioned, that siren. This is a cool product. As you can see in here, this is a speaker that can go pretty loud with 110 decibels, but it also has a emergency LED lighting. It's not particularly clear from this picture, but what happens is that rim that you see there will illuminate bright red if you have it enabled. So if you say you had a water leak that happened on your premises, you want to set it up to where everyone knows there's a water leak, so people go check it out. You could have this sound an alarm. You could have, once we have other sensors coming like smoke alarms and things like that, where it's important to have that. But you can do a lot of different things with this. Also, if a door's left open, that type of thing. We got other sensors coming. Like I said, we got a bunch of sensors coming. I'm going to show you the whole family that we've had planned right now, at least what I'm aware of. But these are the few kind of the time frames that we're seeing. So we should see the siren. This is the not wired, not the PoE base, the Superlink base. So it's using the wireless protocol to connect back to that Superlink base station. This is delivering. This is the same siren effectively as the other one. It's just going to be wireless as opposed to wired. The other two things we have coming are a glass break sensor, so helping you to find, you have this installed in Windows in a retail environment, in the front windows there, where if there's a glass break, you can have that automatically trigger a alarm, and you could have create a webhook or notifications that sent out to the security team to let them know where the broken glass occurred. You also there's also other things you can do with that. We also have the motion sensor, which of course is used for detecting motion in certain places. So, a common example, what you might use this for is, let's say you have a restricted area of an office that should be closed out, should be shut down after a certain point. If there's movement detected there, perhaps you are going to trigger an alarm automatically. But these are coming this month. The next month is when we expect these to be here, and then we'll continue coming out with sensors into the next year. So this brings us to this slide here, which kind of gives you a preview of what's coming. So I've already covered a number of these products here, but I just want to mention a few of the things that I haven't. You can see here we have an air quality sensor there on the right. What's cool about this is it's going to include looking at classic like air quality metrics in an environment like CO2 levels, VOC, and it's also going to include things like vape detection. So this is cool for a school where you have, let's say you have, at a high school where you're having a hard time enforcing students abiding by the no vaping on campus policy. You could have these in the bathrooms and set to automatically generate a notification or alarm that there's been vape detected in a place, and then send the administration there just to break that up, I guess. But there's lots of, I think that's going to be a really interesting one for educational environments, also workplaces. Also, there's plenty of other use cases for that. Like I said, the classic kind of air quality metrics that you're using to make sure that in a manufacturing environment that you're not getting too much pollutants there and everything. This can be a very useful device. So that should be next year, coming next year, as should the smoke detector you see there at the top. As you guys can imagine, smoke detectors take a little bit more of regulatory approval and requirements, and so that's also set for next year, and probably is going to be one of the last ones to be released given those extra requirements. But we see this as being a full evolving platform. You also can see there in the back an alarm hub. Without giving too much away into what we're going to do, I think you can kind of get the idea here that there's a lot of connections there. So for those wired sensors and third-party sensors, there's going to be options to be able to leverage that and bring that into your system. So exciting what's coming. I think that's one thing I'll just note too while we're talking about sensors is that there's a common question I get from people is what kind of, are you guys going to integrate with third-party integrations? Are you guys going to support some of these other protocols? Just know that we as an organization are much more open. And I can tell you, I've been here for 10 years and I've seen us really change in our willingness to be more, and we have to with these types of solutions. We have to be more open to third-party, to integration with third parties. And so definitely you should expect to see some of those things coming. We're looking at that and finding ways to do that. And you can see there's going to be some products here that are going to help you be able to integrate with third-party products. We also have, I didn't note this, but we have a little fob there that you can see. The design may have changed since then a little bit, but you can see the idea there being to be able to control, things like sirens if a siren goes off, that type of thing. And we also have a button there with the alarm control button over there. But I see this being an evolving platform. It's going to do a lot of cool things, and I think this is just the very beginning. I'm excited to see over the last year. I think you guys have seen the Alarm Manager and Unifi Protect, which was the first product that had it, really evolve. We've now added Alarm Manager to all of our other applications, even network. And the idea being there that you can create these automations based off of triggers in the environment or in the network and so on. What's going to be cool to see, I think, and way to look, stay tuned for some developments is just, I think we're going to see a tighter integration between Access and Protect. We just released our doorbells, our new doorbell products, which actually run both, are part of Protect and Access. They provide that unlock feature as well and NFC credentials, that type of thing, but they also have built-in cameras, one for packages, one for facial recognition, or for being able to pair to a viewer so that you can see outside who's ringing your doorbell. But you can see that we're really tightening the connection between Access and Protect, and I expect to see this to evolve in some really cool ways, and I'm excited to see what it's going to look like another year. I'm confident you'll see a lot of improvements and a lot more features and possibilities here. But I want to take a moment just to open up for some questions before I'm ready to move on into a software demo. But I want to give some moment in case there is any questions, Pedro.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have a few here, Andrew. The first one from Ryan: bringing back Protect Lock with Superlink would be neat.
Yeah, so being able to uh, have more integration with locks, like a residential kind of environment. I imagine what your question is. I think there's a potential also for use of access. So when you're using like the strike locks and things, we are definitely looking at ways that we can accommodate more lock form factors with access. And I think it's natural that you'll be able to incorporate um, some of these alarm manager features with the locks, right? So yeah, definitely, I see there being potential there. Uh-huh.
Okay, another question from Brian: how is the environmental sensor powered?
It's battery powered, yeah.
Okay, battery. Okay, and Paul asking, I think you touched on that a bit. 24/7 monitoring central station on the horizon.
Uh, I can't comment officially on that, but just know we're looking into it. So that's what I can say.
Okay, another question from Hans Eric: would like more information about the alarm hub and the relay.
Yeah. So in terms of what I can give you today, I think especially since we haven't really announced a whole lot of that, I don't think I can get too much into specifics there. Um, I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I think the idea here is you can see here that we have those wire contacts similar to what you see on access hubs. So the idea here is we're going to be able to connect wired sensors, third-party sensors, and we're going to be able to leverage these in a few different ways. I can't get into much more with that, but I'm excited to see what comes of it. And I think another example that you see of this right now, I want to mention too, is we also just came out with Unifi Access has always been an access control system that's built off of PoE being the wiring for us, and that makes a lot of sense for people that are networking integrators, right? You're comfortable using PoE to deploy access points and connect switches and all that, but for existing installs, a lot of people don't have wiring Cat5 cables ran to all their doors, right? And so sometimes we're not eligible to win some of these projects in these environments that are wired for different standards, like the Wiegand standard or OSDP. Now we have a retrofit reader and hub that can integrate with those third party or that other wiring protocols, and can also be integrated with third party readers. So like now you can have a third party reader that's connected to our retrofit hub. But the idea here, as you can see, and this is a philosophy you're going to see reflected in this platform, is that we are trying to open up more and more to where our product can come in and fit into an existing environment and add something and augment on that. It's the same thing what we did with the Protect cameras by encouraging allowing for OnViv support, is that basically allows us to come into environments where people already have a solution, but we can add on to that and do over time a customer can transition away from another vendor to Unifi without having to sacrifice anything. They can still stay on their same purchase cycle that they were already on, their upgrade cycle and everything. But those are two examples of just how we're trying to make this more and more integrated with third-party solutions, and also whatever you've got already existing in your those retrofit deployments. And so I think you'll see that we'll have more here, and it's going to be on that same thing in part. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But
Hey, a
yeah, I
few
see
more.
this is really going to evolve into a full alarm platform. So it's not, if you think if we just left it the sensors that we have right now, it wouldn't be that type of alarm platform that would be all in one function. But we're planning on expanding this and really kind of covering all of our bases. So look for more and more products to be released.
A few more questions here, Andrew. From Mario. So G4 Doorbell Pro will eventually cross over to Access?
So the new
The
if you look at
G4
the
Doorbell Pro, yeah.
yeah, so the new I can share my screen, I think. Let me switch over to the store and I'll show you. So let's go to let's go to the doorbells. So yeah, so the new G4 Doorbell Pro, or sorry, the this device here, we've announced the G6 Pro is what I'm referring to, the G6 Pro entry. So this is the product that incorporates access. Now we have it now acts as an access reader as well. So you can see here, you can actually even recognize. So some of you that have used like the intercom device can see similar kind of UI elements that we have on the intercom device. But this device is both a doorbell like the G4 doorbell was, but the G6 Pro adds on added functions. So it's going to have AI detections. First of all, it has AI built into the camera, and then also has a second camera at the bottom for packages, so you can allow you to see the packages um, and have a specific view for that. So you have two camera views. But the cool thing is, in addition to that doorbell button, you also have a touchscreen integrated access reader, so you can do things like NFC badge. You can use our identity app. You can send a QR code to someone that's going to come do maintenance on a property. They can hit the button to scan QR code, hold up that QR code with limited access for a certain time, PIN code, all that. But basically, that can then connect to a lock and unlock the door, so that with the use of compatible lock and everything, you can actually end up having a full functional doorbell like at the G4, but also adds on the access reader functionality so that you can use your NFC badge and all that. So yeah, this is where we see those being integrated. In the past, the G4 doorbells, that wasn't the case, but with the new it's going to be actually leveraging all the access functionalities, more of that than we had in the past. Yeah.
Okay, the same Mario is responding to what you just said, thinking of adding access to clients with Protect and G4 Doorbell already without switching to a G6.
Yeah, I mean, I to be honest, I haven't worked a lot with the G4 doorbells, uh, and I think there's definitely possibilities of things you can do here. But I think we're seeing this is just a shift towards more capabilities, and we'll see more and more like being able to tighten that integration where like the same thing where you have an LPR camera that looks for a license plate on a gate hub. Can they go ahead and take that license plate, pull off the numbers, and then authenticate, like verify that that's on the list of approved license plates, and then open up a gate? And same, we're going to keep expanding on options for both residential and business access and tightening that integration with Protect, so there's more and more close interaction between the two applications, and they both enhance your value that you get. Like right now, for instance, you already get the option with any of our readers that have cameras on them. Now, it used to be the case where you didn't get any recordings from these. Now you get continuous recording options with like the Reader Pro, where you get always that camera feed. The same goes for the doorbell. You get that camera feed that then you can go back and look at the detections and all that and Protect. But you also can use it to open the door, and when you do that, you can have it set to automatically take a record that event as a door opening event and have multiple cameras paired to that too, so that when you're using the access, the access stack, you're still getting these valuable these detection events associated with door openings and so on. So there's already ways that they're integrated together, but we see it keep evolving, and I'm excited to see where it goes from there. Yeah.
Okay, another question. Will this be able to do what MFI was doing, remote generator control and monitoring, for example?
MFi, yeah. So I don't. That's so long ago, to be honest with you. And I wasn't really involved back. I was in the company when we still had some of that, but since I do this kind of job, haven't really like had much experience with MFi, so I can't tell you what all the comparison will be right now. But definitely, I think there's some overlap in terms of needs for other products that we may be releasing in the future. But certainly, I see it evolving, and you can see there's ways in which we're starting to overlap with some of the things I know are on that platform. But we'll have to see what comes in the future in terms of IoT, that type of thing.
Okay, and let's put a last one here before you proceed from Paul. Can you superlink a remote Unifi camera?
A remote unified camera. So can you set a camera that's on a different site to trigger off of a Superlink notification? I mean, I'm not sure what the use case would be for that, but I think, the where that is potentially possible is, so let me go ahead, and this is a good segue into the notification, the alarm manager. So this is our alarm manager platform. And basically what I mentioned before, you can create all these triggers on the left. These are all triggers or conditions in the environment that can trigger an action. You get to choose in Unifi Alarm Manager and Protect, as well as our other applications, a trigger, and then you can choose a scope. So which cameras you want to apply to. You can also choose like schedule, like how often, when do you want this rule to apply. So let's just give you an example of one in Protect, not dealing with the sensors as an example. I can have it set to be unknown faces. This is a common one, detected between 12 a.m. and 8 and 6 a.m. Any night, and I can have it set to, if that happens on any of the cameras that are, let's just say all the cameras in this case, we'll also have it set to notify, the person that's on call for security or for things like that. You can have a notification, including making a critical alert that will override silent mode on your phone and give you a notification bypassing that silent mode. So this is a great thing for after hours for a really severe, event. You can also then add additional actions. So for instance, we can generate a webhook, a custom webhook that we want to generate used by a third-party application or ingested by whatever. If it's your ticketing platform, if it's Slack, if it's ServiceNow, whatever case is, you can have this generate a webhook, and then you can do all sorts of things with that webhook. There's applications that can send emails off of webhook triggers. There's applications that can you can script API, do API scripting off of this, where you have a webhook that is generated off of, that runs a script that then triggers. You can have it come back in and trigger a webhook that then is going to do act as another trigger. So there's lots of cool things you can do with it, but the big things we're talking about Superlink are going to be notifications, of course, sound. So when you have a siren on the site, I don't have a siren on this one. You can just select the siren option and then have it set to play that siren. You can also, we have the AI horn speaker, which is also going to be used for Superlink to trigger. You can have it set here to use, to also do a custom message. So for instance, let's say, let's start getting into actual Superlink examples. I can have that water leak sensor that's running. I'm going to set this on always, and I'm going to select all the sensors that have this functionality, and I'm going to have it set to notify if that happens. I want it to play on the AI horn speaker there and blast it that water leak has been detected. And you can do it based on where these locations are. So if I had these, like one of them is in this utility closet, I would select the one in the west utility closet. So you can have it set up to automatically do AI voice, play this on that horn speaker, and notify everybody there that's on in that facility. So this is like an example of something you could do with this. Now you can also do and triggers where you can combine these. So if I have multiple options here, so let's say I have in this case, I think a lot of times it's going to say, for these are more useful. The multiple triggers are more useful for other things than necessarily the sensors. I think the more sensors we have, the more interesting that will be. Like, so you can have a door open status change, and then motion, and then you can also have uh, additional triggers that you combine that into where there's multiple requirements. It's up to you what you want to do with this, and there's really a lot of options of what you can do with this platform. But this is the idea of where Superlink fits in. It gives you that awareness over to know if any of these things occur. So if we have you have the smoke sensor, be able to whenever there's smoke, we can then trigger the siren and turn on the. You can also do compound actions, so we can do the sound, the light, the notifications, change a PTZ camera, generate a webhook. That's also gonna, you could have automations built off a webhook that can do things like, if you want to really get specific with something like, for instance, let's say there's something extreme where you have someone that there's a known person that actually threatened to bring a gun to a location, a disgruntled employee. If you happen to see this person's identification, perhaps you'll have it set up to do a webhook that's going to then initiate a call to law enforcement automatically. Like things like that you can do. But there's lots of potential for where we see this expanding, both in what you can do in action wise and in what you can do triggers wise. But this is the general, the way it works. We have the options right now that are available to us based on the sensors that we have here and what's available in Superlink. I'm just going to go ahead and just show you the other locations where you manage things. So first of all, when you're setting up your new Superlink sensors, you'll plug in and adopt from the Superlink gateways here. Once that shows up here, you'll be able to start detecting those other sensors, each of which you'll click through and click adopt next to, and then it will show up as it does here with the signal level. So it'll tell you the level of signal and the quality, and also how much the battery life these devices have on them relatively. So here you can see these are all full battery because they've been relatively recently installed, and it's all in one room. So they all have pretty good, actually this is not in the same room. This is somewhere else. I have no idea where this is at, but this is in our Salt Lake office. But for the sake of this demo, I thought I would just go ahead and adopt somebody's sensor. I'm sorry to them if I interfere with their work, but now you guys get to see it in my demo here. Yeah, this one's going through probably multiple walls and things, but you can see the different, this is also different protocols, so different signal strengths. So this might be, who knows where it's located relative to this, but you can see these are very close. These are close, and we're able to get all this information. So now now that you've got these devices in there, you can do things with our UP Sense. Like I said, these are the all-in-one sensors that you can go ahead and you can turn on what you want to turn on. And these have door contact sensors and everything else. They can also be sent. This one thing to note here is you can turn on everything except for you cannot turn on water leak sensor. In addition to that, and the more things that you do, the more it's going to use up the battery life on the device. So there you go. You can also add safe zones. So you can say we want to, for temperature, for instance, let's say you're in a fridge and you want to you're going to put these in refrigerators, and you want to look for basically anything that exceeds the approved temperature on that fridge, both if it gets too cold and if it gets too hot, and we are going to then generate a notification off that, an alert automatically off of this. So I can apply that. You can also set the triggers up in Alarm Manager. Either one option is available to you, and you can choose whichever you prefer, and you can do both. But that's what that's for. You can also do the same thing here for humidity levels, light levels, and so on. Okay. Let's go ahead and I can show you some other things with that sensors here. We also have the ability to keep historical record of these different metrics. So you can see here, you can kind of see which ones are installed in the same room, right? So if we go look at temperature, one of them is installed in a room that's 67 degrees, or one of them sitting in a room that's 67 degrees, and the rest are sitting in a single room that where there's a lot of test equipment running. It's getting pretty hot in there. Or where at least where they're running, they might be close to network equipment and also be hot from that. We can also go look at humidity, and you can see here 50% relative humidity in that for that environmental sensor wherever it's located, but everything else is at 9% levels. And you can track this historical levels over the course of multiple days, weeks, months. And this can be useful information to help you kind of see and get a better understand your environment. And there's lots of stuff that you can do with this information. I will also note too, as I mentioned, we support third-party integrations. We also support API integrations. So there's things that you can do with the API that you'll be able to take some of this information and even leverage it that way as well. Be able to pull, scrape these types of metrics, put them in a dashboard if you want to on your own application or whatever. There's tons of potential for stuff like that you can do. And that's the beauty of using the API. It's a lot of times whenever there's something that you want to do that's not supported specifically through the product exactly how you want it. If people ask me if I can do it, well, the answer usually is you can, but with the use of the API. So there's just so much stuff that you can do, but it requires that extra investment of your time and resources to be able to build those API scripts and everything else and to know what you're doing with that. There's also people out there that will do work for you if you pay them to do that type of thing. But yeah, so that's just basically the sensor graph, and this is where you can keep track of all these things. This is obviously more useful whenever you have an actual deployment in mind, being able to see all throughout a business the different, like how effective is the installation, are we actually doing a good job of keeping the facility cool, are we able to get an idea of uh, other things, like is there a potential problem with the air conditioning unit? Can we see if there's an issue with too much humidity in the environment that could potentially cause mold or so on? But there we go. We've got all these options here available to you, and there's definitely a lot of potential uses. Now, the more sensors that we have, the more different things that you'll be able to do for this. And I can imagine there's lots of other going to be a lot of other views that will take advantage and graph this this type of content here on this view here. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. I want to leave the rest of the time up for questions, and if we end early, that's fine too. But you guys can now see kind of what you can do with the platform. You've got an idea of what all can be done and the types of solutions that you can create and automations. And I am very excited to see how we're able to use some of these other sensors that are coming out and seeing how you're going to be able to use them in your business and how this adds value to you. So yeah, feel free to ask whatever questions you guys want, and I'll open that time up now.
Here's another one from Daniel. Do the sensors need to be connected via Superlink, or can they be connected via third-party devices such as access points with integrated Bluetooth?
So the only device that support so the new Superlink sensors, like the USL environmental, this device only supports the Superlink. It only supports Superlink there, right? So you're gonna have to have it connected to one of these. Now you can have multiple Superlink stations there, or Superlink gateways, but each one of these you'll need all your sensors connected to one of those. That are on Superlink. Now the UP sensors are unique in that they have BLE in them, and these BLE can be present on the access points or on the Superlink gateway. So either one of those work for that. But moving forward, all those sensors that we've gone over today, the ones that are coming up, are all going to be on the Superlink platform, and that's where we intend them. Now I think there's also a possibility of having, you've seen the wired the inputs and the contacts on those devices, so it's possible perhaps we'll have other types of sensors and things that will leverage different connections in the future.
Okay. And another question from Hans Eric. Is it all wireless, or are you going to provide wired options?
Yeah, so you can already see, like with some of the components, we do have wired elements, or just in terms of the siren and everything. So I think it's possible we'll have more form factors and more options. The nice thing about the battery power is it does last for multiple years, feasibly depending on how much you're using them. But it does make it a lot more convenient than if it was BLE is a much more higher usage of battery life, and so that itself would lower your battery life quite significantly. So it should be better, but I think we're going to likely have wired devices in the future, but I can't tell you for sure what those will be or when those will be. I'm not sure.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody?
One thing I will just note real quick too, you asked a question about wiring, but so if any of you guys wondered about this, the the environmental sensor, part of how it can do water leak is that you can also have a probe that plugs into the aux jack for a water leak probe. So you can use it and have it connected to it has a top and bottom water sensor, so you can use the water sensors here to use to detect water, like depending on where you have them installed, like close to the ground or whatever, or where you have them installed. But if you want to have them installed like further up on the wall and then have the aux connector that then goes into uh, uh, a probe there, the aux jack there, then you can use that as well. Let me see if I can ship if there's any of these that have a picture of it so you can see. I guess it's this little thing down here. Can't really see it very well right here, but I guess there's a cap for it. Yeah, that's how it's done. Is with you can use the wire probe. All right,
Okay.
go
I
ahead.
don't think there are any other questions right now, Andrew.
All right. Well, I think if unless
Oh, one more just came in. Let's see, from Jonathan. Can you export the sensor logs? Can't seem to find the download button when looking at the system logs tab. Graphs look nice, but may need to look at them in Excel form or CVS download or similar.
yeah, so definitely I can tell you that that makes a lot of sense, and I think it would make sense for us to allow you to export like information from the sensor manager view. So I agree with you. That might be that'll be something I'll forward to our team. That's a request, a feature request. But I also think we can also potentially you can leverage our API as well to do this and pull this information out and put it into whatever have it right to a spreadsheet on a regular interval the readings. So it's automatically truncating a file as time goes on. There's options you can do that right now, but yeah, I think it makes sense to do it, make it more easy through the interface.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just give another couple of comments here about Flytec, Andrew,
All right,
and I
sounds good.
guess we're done. Just want to remind everybody that another thing that I forgot to mention that we can do here at Flytec, especially for your large, more complicated projects, we can hold inventory in our warehouse for you until your project is complete. That sometimes it's a little bit difficult to do. Unifi has so many popular products that they're hard to find sometimes. So that's something that not every distributor does, but we can do it for you for your larger projects. And so thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Andrew. Excellent presentation.
Hey, thanks everyone for joining today, and thanks for setting it up, Pedro.
Okay.
Take care, everyone. Have a good day. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.